Hello everyone, welcome back to another Hearthstone deck spotlight. My name is Tommy Wave and today we're going to be looking at Testrax's Aggro Rogue. So this is a bit of an interesting one. I think a lot of people, when they think Rogue right now on the ladder, they're thinking Miracle Rogue, they're thinking Odd Rogue particularly, and that's probably the list that this most resembles is Odd Rogue. So a lot of the comparisons we're going to be doing today is between those two decks. So Testrax has gone for a Prince Keleseth build here, so it actually makes the decks even closer in what they're comprised of. So we're really going to be looking at comparing the Baku being a bit of a brick but upgrading our hero power, and Keleseth being much less of a brick but something that we have to dig for, but is going to hit quite a lot of our deck with the +1/+1. So the general style of these types of rogue decks is we're going to try and control the board early on, particularly turns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to try and create enough of an advantage, do as much face damage as we can, that we can push through that last part of the game. So something interesting with this list compared to most other rogue lists that we see is the 1-drop slot. I think most rogue decks that we see are on Fireflies, Diamols, and South Sea Deckhand is usually a pretty high priority choice as far as 1-drops goes. Instead, Testrax has gone for Glacial Shards and a one-of Bloodsail Corsair, which I'm not 100% on. Obviously this can be good in the mirror. I can't think of too many other times where this is going to be really good. So they've gone for a bit of an interesting one here. Still have the Cold Bloods, no deadly poisons or anything. So if we look at our curve, we're really lacking a lot of those ones, whereas a lot of other decks, whether they be odd or otherwise, are stacking up that 1-drop slot in order to give themselves the most advantage in the early game. There's also no backstabs in this list, which is obviously, if we're not playing Odd Rogue, we do have access to those, but Testrax has left those in the binder. Instead, they've gone for a really chunky 3-drop slot with essentially the who's who of 3-drops that you would play, except for maybe Void Ripper is absent. We've got the Blink Foxes, the Hench Clan Thugs, the SI7s, which are usually the first editions. We've also got Vicious Fledgling, a one-of Iron Beak Owl, 2 Plague Scientists, which I think is really be interesting to see how this goes, especially with with not as many 1-drops as we'd usually play. I think Plague Scientist goes very well with a large amount of 1-drops, but I usually never play 2, so this is a big commitment from Testrax. We've also got a big commitment to 2 Fan of Knives, so maybe trying to hedge a lot against Odd Paladin, these kinds of decks, even the Mirror, but the full commitment to 2 Fan of Knives with no preps in the deck is going to be an interesting one. We've got Van Cleef there as well, big old threat, but with no zeros and not too many ones. Be interesting to see how big we can get this Van Cleef, if we can get it big enough. The other card that we get when we're not playing Odd is Elven Minstrel, so this is going to be a good way for us to restock on threats. And at the 5s, we have Fungalmancer, Leader Vilespine, no Cobalt Scalebane, which is, I guess that's fine. Like, at least we have the 2 Fungalmancers, which is probably going to be the better choice, regardless. And then at the end, we have a one-of Sprint. So I guess the idea behind this Sprint is to, once you finally run out of resources, you can stock back up. However, you're probably spending your entire turn doing it. So I kind of actually dislike this Sprint. I think, especially in a deck with Elven Minstrels, we already have, and 2 Fan of Knives, we already have access to enough resources that we want. If we're spending our entire turn to get more resources, our opponent's going to get too far ahead. They're probably going to have better threats than us, and we really need to find like the perfect combination of 4 cards in order to stay in this game. So, not a fan of that one, but I hope that I'm totally wrong. I hope that the Sprint is the best card in the deck, and that we get to see that in the games that we play. So we'll be back with some games. All right. We are up against the House Goblin Dobby.
Watch your back.
And we are... Here's the Hunter, so... Definitely not cards we want here. This is not the best 3-drop. And we really want to find some of our 1s. Considering we only have 5 shots at a 1-drop. We really got to try and find them. Also gives us more draws at Kaliseth, which would be a fine consolation prize, but instead we get nothing. Actually, I guess you know what? The Bloodsail Corsair is very good against Hunter as well. Comboing seems hard in this deck. You might be right. You might be right. Come on, Kaliseth. Off the top. Nada. So, I think with that in mind, the fact that that comboing might be hard, I think we're going to save this coin for the... sure. Happy to go for a minstrel here. Snipe. Much respect to the player that brings Snipe to the table. Very very interesting card. I think quite a hard card to play right now. Oof, full Christmas tree action going on here. And I'm actually going to hold this Flame Elemental. It's possible we should have maybe gut checked a Wandering Monster. Ooh. Oh my gosh, snakes! Okay. How are we doing this, friends?
Blood will flow.
Choose soon.
Fireheart Coldblood. Yeah, that's what we ended up going for. But opponent is putting us in the hole. The Venom Strike Trap is legit. I was also kind of not wanting to play the Elemental because now we don't have any good combo enablers. Like, look at this. Look at these 3-drops.
This guy's toast.
Here we go.
Blink Fox for a secret. Yeah. Wow, Explosive Trap would have been pretty good.
To my side.
Oh, well that's one of the 2 cards that's one of the 3 cards that doesn't kill us. Seconds. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, no. Nice. Right on time. Yeah, unfortunately,
Well played.
the way our hand worked out that game, we just didn't have the granularity that we wanted. We just lacked a lot of options to deploy our threats, and we definitely could have played around some of those secrets a bit more, you know. But I mean, if our opponent shows us snipe, like, were we really expecting the Venom Strike trap? So interesting game there, real interesting. Okay, here again with Testrax's Aggro Rogue.
Fury. Watch your back.
Well, I don't think we want to keep this Glacial Shard. It just does not compete very well in that early game, even though we really don't have the 1-drops. I'd rather miss a 1 and have an extra shot at Keleseth than play a 1 that's just going to die to our opponent's Daggerino. The Blood Cell Course is a little bit better. And now we kind of have a good follow-up. Like, we can freeze them if they just dagger instead of playing 1-drops, then we can take down one of the durability. But they're not on Odd Rogue, so that's a bit...
Swiftly.
That's less of a priority, less of a big deal.
Nice to meet you.
Looks like in the time that we've started playing this deck, Testrax has made some changes. All right. I think we'll just dagger up here and prepare for the thug.
This guy's toast.
Bit of a strange move there, but does do quite well against this this thug that we were planning to play. So let's get the Blink Fox down. They can trade with it if they want. This Master of Disguise could come in interesting. Could come in useful. Might be able to protect a Hench Clan thug or maybe a big Van Cleef. Whoa. I've never actually played with this part of the board. I've always been too obsessed with the volcano and the... Ooh.
Nice to meet you. The Brotherhood shall prevail.
That's about the best Van Cleef we can hope to make, I think. It was also tempting to play the Hench Clan Thug instead, but I think that I think we got to get this out while the getting out is good. Wow, have they changed this deck a lot? Yeah, they've got saps and eviscerates and stuff in there. And a shadow step. still have this sprint. The deck has changed quite a lot, but
Quickly.
sweet.
Lapdogs! All of you!
So we'll definitely take this opportunity to
Shadows.
save our Van Cleef. We probably should have attacked in. Maybe? It means we have lethal on the board. Prep Vanish. That's one way to get rid of the Van Cleef.
Ha! This guy's toast.
Here we go.
This
Lucky draw with the SI7. Allows us to get a bit more of an interesting board. We got him. Okay.
Valir versus Jaina!
Up against some mage.
You asked for it.
Been hitting
Watch your back.
a varied amount of mage. These glacial shards, once again, not really what we want. If our opponent's going to kill them on turn 2, rather hit the Keleseth. Same as last game. At least this Blood Sail Corsair is slightly better than the Glacial Shard. Alright, well. Okay with that. If this is a big spell mage, we certainly haven't really drawn the resources we need to
Here we go.
defeat them. It's definitely the matchup where we want to try and be like baiting out removal with cards like Blink Fox. Trying to get a little bit lucky there as well. Like these Vile Spines and Plague Scientists, never really going to do too much.
What to do? What to do?
Also, this is also the deck where Vicious Fledgling comes in handy. You know, once they kill Alright. So this is interesting. If they had the polymorph, I assume that we would have eaten a polymorph there. Unless they're really trying to bait us into like a Dragon's Fury, a big Dragon's Fury.
I wonder.
So we can go for the Fungal Mancer and buff our pig to 6 toughness after attack, which means they need to hit the Flame Strike or Meteor off the Dragon's Fury. If they have been sandbagging
I wonder.
the polymorph, then we probably lose.
Too soon.
So I think we're gonna go for the kind of riskier play here. I just think surely they would have sheeped that pig.
What to do? What to do?
Surely they sheeped that pig. If no sheep, then they have 2x for CMC.
What to do?
Some lists also play a singleton secret with the archaeologist, archaeologist, secretologist. What's the other 4 CMC spell other than sheep? Boo. And they have Arcane Tyrant too, as well. This doesn't feel good at all. So yeah, I think we're pretty damned if we do, damned if we don't. Especially with the Arcane Tyrant to follow up. Like, we were never really, if we didn't extend into that board, like, we can either play more things that would just die to the Dragon's Fury, or we could not play anything, and then they Dragon's Fury, kill everything, and play an Arcane Tyrant, which then kills our next play, which is... Oh, okay. It's a little bit bewildered.
This guy's toast.
Here we go. Amazing.
Reality.
They have the other Artificer as well. I was thinking, like, why would you use the Meteor without an Artificer in play? But they have the Arcane, and it didn't matter because they have another Meteor and this guy. We got our Sprint though, so that's great. I think we'll send this one back. Unfortunate. So let's take a look at the deck, and we'll also take a look at the revisions that Testrax made to this deck. So I guess, as we kind of pointed out, one of the weaknesses that we kept coming across was just the 1-drops and the kind of lack of ideal 1-drops. Also felt like we were kind of getting a bit of a glut at 3 mana. You know, as you can see, there's 14 3-mana cards here, which is very awkward on turns 4, 5, when you can only deploy one of these things, and you're unlikely to deploy anything else because you don't have a lot of 2-drops and you don't have a lot of 1-drops. So, I think the first thing I would do is get this core set out. Sprint, I think we already went through why we dislike Sprint. Wasn't really doing too much for us. Elven Minstrel I liked. I don't think we need 2 Plague Scientists. Maybe 1 if even Warlock is out and about. And we're not seeing too many odd pallies, so I think Fan of Knives is not exactly the most necessary card right now. We want to get some more 1-mana minions in there. Diamol definitely being one of the best ones. It's very resilient. Nordsil cheered for 50. Thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. You finally managed to catch one of the streams. Thank you. We'll just finish off this, taking a look at this aggro rogue deck. South Sea Deckhand is fantastic. I think we'll cut the Glacial Shards. I'd definitely start with this selection of 1-drops at the very least. At the 5s, I think these are probably correct. But I'd also love to see something like, where is it? Maybe see some chain gangs in here as a better lead up into the Fungal Mancer turn. Just another great way to kind of fill our curve up. We also don't have to play Iron Beak Owl because we're not Odd Rogue. We are allowed to play Spellbreaker. We have a one-off Spellbreaker, possibly two. Kind of shift these numbers around, see how we feel. Other than that, I think probably some number of backstabs, something like that. Really, make sure we're taking advantage of the reasons to not be Odd Rogue. But yeah, that's maybe how I would move things. Let's see how Testrax has changed theirs. So we still see that same kind of one-drop lineup with the Glacial Shards, the one Blood Sail Corsair, and the Fireflies. They've removed Kaliseth, which I think is a real interesting choice. Kaliseth being one of the better reasons to not be Odd Rogue. But we've got two Eviscerates and a Sap in there, so a little bit of extra reach, which is good. Still, they've cut something out of this 3-drop slot. They've cut the Iron Beak Owl, but we still have the Plague Scientist and then 2 fans. Interesting. They've cut down on one of the Elven Minstrels, and those have made room for these Saps and Eviscerates. So still kind of going in that same kind of direction with that really chunky 3-drop slot. So yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, all the links down in the description, including a link to the Hearthstone deck. If you do like this deck, please give it a +1. Give a shout out to Testrax, let them know that you're feeling the deck. Other than that, all my social details will be down there as well, including the best place to hit me up on, which is Twitter. You can always send through any deck recommendations there. And we're all getting hype over Boomsday Project, so feel free to join us. And until next time, I do hope you all manage to stay wavy. Bye.